In this video, I'll be showing a method that I use to solve the 4x4. So this method is probably not the fastest method, and I don't exactly know the name for this because I kind of figured this out by myself. But it's still a really simple method that I'm sure will be really easy to understand. So first, we're going to mix this up. Our first step would be to solve the centers. So let's start off with white, and let's solve the white center on this face because we already have two white pieces here. So we'll just bring the other two on. So first, you can see that we can just turn this up to bring that on. Now to bring the other one on, it's right here. So an easy way to bring this up is to notice how it's on the left side, the left inner column. So we want to pair, make a sort of a bar of two on the same column as this. So that way when we move it up, and we also have to make sure that when we move it up, this will match with this. So it'll create a horizontal bar, which we can move to the side and then just move it back. So we can use that method, or that way of solving it, or you can just make up your own method. So the first center should be pretty easy. So now we want to solve the opposite center, which is going to be yellow. So solve yellow up here. So we can just turn this up and then just move that out of the way. So now we can move this back down. And this, we can first line it up with this bar. So move it up, move it out of the way, then move the bar back down. So with this one, just move this up, move this out of the way, and move the bar back down. So now we have the white center and the yellow center. So what we want to do is solve the next four horizontal centers, or whatever you call them. So let's first start off with green, because there's already three greens right here. So you can see the other green piece is on the bottom if we face it like this. So when we rotate this twice, if we rotate it twice, then this green will be up here. So if we move it so that there is a bar of two on the same inner left column, and we move it so that this, we want to position it so that when we move it up, this bar will be out of the way, and this will create a new bar with a third piece, so like this. So we have a new bar. We just move that to the side, move this green back down. So now we have to solve the other three centers, and there is a specific way to solve them. Like for example, we know that this and this must be red and orange, but we don't exactly know which one should be red and which one should be orange. So there is a sequence of letters that you have to remember the order of the centers. So just remember, if white is on the bottom, the center should go like blue, orange, green, red. So this is green, and red, so it's blue, orange, green, red. So this should be orange, this should be green, this should be red. So let's do orange first, because there's already two oranges here. So now we've made the green and the orange center. So let's make the blue center should go opposite the green, and the red center should go opposite the orange. So let's do the blue first. So notice how the red center automatically solves. So that will happen when you solve the third center. So we have all the pieces in the correct, we just formed all the centers, and we can check they're in the correct order by putting white on the bottom and seeing that this is B, O, G, R. So our next step in solving the 4x4 is to pair up all of these edges. So what this means is, notice how this is green and red and this is orange and green. So we want this to be green and red, so that will be a pair. Or we can have this be orange and green. So what we do for this is we first look at the unsolved edge pieces on the middle layer, and we try to position them such that when we make a turn like this, like for example, we try to bring a white and red edge piece here, so that way when we turn, we'll solve this edge piece and we can move that out of the way. So let's just look for a red and white edge piece first. We can see that there's one down here. So what we want to do is bring that to over here. So you can just do that. So notice how we have a red and white piece here, and we have a red and white piece here. So when we turn the top two layers, notice that this forms a pair. So we can just move that out of the way, replace that with a unsolved pair, move that down, and then just move the centers back. And we can see that we have solved one edge piece. So this is blue and white. So this is another blue and white. So notice that we don't have to bring this over here. We can just turn this one twice. So that'll solve a pair. And we just move it up, replace it with an unsolved edge piece, move that down, and solve the centers again. So now we can do green and red, and we can just move this in this spot. But notice that this time, they're both on the same column. So what to do when that happens is you can just do the following sequence of moves to flip this edge piece. So this goes for any edge piece. To flip it, you do this algorithm. And pair these up, move this up, this down, and reset the centers. So let's just keep going like that for a bit. So notice how there's no more unsolved edge pieces at the top. So we turn the cube to the bottom, and now we can do that. So now notice if we solve any more pairs, there's no more unsolved pairs at the top. So what we can do is just move, let's just move an unsolved pair up there. So that way when we solve any more edge pieces, we can just move that down. So when you have two pairs left, what you do is you have to position them such that their colors are matching. Like for example, you have a yellow green on the top. You want to have a yellow green on the top on the other one. You don't want to have it like this, where one's on the bottom, one's on the top, one's on the bottom, one's on the top. You'll see why here in a second. So what we do is we first match them up. They have to be right next to each other, by the way. And we just turn it like we want to pair them. Just turn it. We just flip this edge piece. No, we just flip this edge piece. So do a flip, like our flipping algorithm. And just turn this layer back. And that should solve these two edge pieces. So I'll just start off with the white cross. So you might think that this is, our solution is done, but we have to be careful because there are some cases, some special algorithms that we might have to do because this is a 4x4 and not a 3x3. Now, time to make the cross. Okay, notice how in this case, we should have had the cross, but you can see that this edge piece is actually flipped. So this is a special case. It's called a parity. So here's the algorithm. Alright, that was a kind of a long algorithm. So it is easy to mess up. If you mess up a tiny bit when performing that algorithm, you will mess up your entire 4x4. So you have to be very careful on that step. So now we just continue normally, however you would solve OLL. So you could have a case in the end where you have two sides solved and two sides unsolved. So what you do for this is you keep the unsolved sides opposite each other, and you do the following algorithm. And that should solve the 4x4. I hope you took the time to understand this method, and this method to solve the 4x4, it is considerably harder because it has more sides and edges to solve than the 3x3. But once you master the 3x3, the bigger cubes, they become very easy to solve, as all of them can be solved in similar methods. So keep practicing. Hope you enjoyed this. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you have not done so. And see you next time.